Hello, everyone, and welcome to part 2 of the road to Knightfall. On this part, we are going to be going over the vengeance of Bane. On the last episode, we went over the Sword of Azrael, which is our origin to Azrael, and now we have Vengeance of Bane, which details Bane's origin and his first meeting with the Batman. So let's get into it, shall we? So, Vengeance of Bane, written by Chuck Dixon. So you know it's gonna be good, right? So it starts off by showing you the coup on the Caribbean Republic of Santa Prisca, right? And it shows you how many were killed, many were taken away to Peñadoro prison. Right, and there you see a woman who was pregnant with her child. Her unborn child was going to be charged with the crimes of his father under the medieval codes of the island nation. Santa Prisca law, though, is not without mercy, as only a male child could serve the sentence of the father. So basically, the sins of the father fall onto the son. And I should say that this book is told from the perspective of someone else. It's not told from Bane's perspective, not told from Batman's perspective. It's told from the perspective of someone who we will get to very shortly. But it gives you that whole backstory, right? So, obviously, we know who the baby is, right? So, the baby is born, and he and his mother were imprisoned into the protective care of the prison's infirmary. That's where they are staying right now. So there we have a person who he is named Zombie. That is the name he was given when he was at Peñador prison. He's the guy who we kind of see this story through. He's like our narrator for it. So Bane was born in, as you know, born in Peñadora. He lived in the infirmary ward with his mother. And that's where they stayed for the first 6 years of their life. And Bane quickly learns, as a boy, he knew the prison like his whole life. It's where he lived for his whole life, and he learned like very quickly how life in the prison worked, right? So he sees like murder and deals and all this shit go down at a very young age. Well, he's got his little teddy bear, by the way, which is Baby Osito. At the age of 6, his mother passes away, and her funeral was she gets thrown off, her body gets thrown off of a cliff and eaten by sharks. Because that's what they do here. So the warden basically tells Bane, now that your mother's dead, you have no guardian, so the state looks after you. I'm taking you out of the protective, the protective custody of the emergency ward, and you are going into general population. This little 6-year-old boy, because the warden's a piece of shit, right? So poor little Bane gets sent there, and there's this fucking creepy guy who's like, oh, you want to be friends? You need friends in a place like this. And you're instantly like, oh, get the fuck away from him. So the next day, that guy comes to, little Bane again, and he's like, oh, we're going to be friends, There's a big prison fight where another more bigger, buffer, inmate who's called Trog comes, and he's like, hey, leave the kid alone. He doesn't want anything to do with you. So they have a big fight, and Bane during the fight is pushed over the railing, and he falls all the way down. And they say, Zombie says in the story, that day the boy died. So Bane didn't actually die, but it's like, this was it. This was the end of Bane, like the little kid, and Bane was born when he woke up from his coma. So we have a little sequence where little kid Bane wakes up in like this dark, empty like space, right? And he's like, am I dead? Like, did I die? And little Osito gets up and starts walking away, and Bane sees a big light, and there's this guy there, and he's like, well, who are you? And the guy goes, I am you as you will be many years from now. I am what you will become. And the guy basically tells him, the world is yours, right? These people are cattle before you. You rule the world. right? We are a rare breed, you and I, right? He's like, the only danger that lies in your way of taking over the world is fear. You must conquer your fear. Once you do that, you will be second to no man. So little kid Bane wakes up after 31 days in a coma. He goes back to the guy who was being very creepy to him, and it's a real good scene where the guy's like, huh? I thought you died. And Bane says, the Niño is dead, but I am here. And he kills the guy. He kills him. So the warden then says, basically throw him into, I'm assuming like the equivalent is like solitary confinement, right? And you get a really cool shot, by the way, of Kid Bane just bloody and everything. And he's going, I spoke to my mother last night. She says they stoke a special fire for you. That's fucking really cool. So for years, that's where Bane lived. He lived in solitary confinement, and it is just this tiny little fucking room. And there's no roof, right? It's got like metal bars as a roof. And every night, the like water just rushes in. And Bane has to like fight for his life from the water. So that's how he lived. Like fish would kind of come in because they have like little grates on the walls too, right? So fish would come in and he'd just eat the fish from there. There were rats that he went and killed. And that's where he was for 4,000 days. That's where Bane was. And he had a lot of time to think. And that's what he did. They said in his own mind, he meditated and he just went and conquered his fear mentally in his head, which his fear was was manifested as a bat. So look at that, huh? Eventually, the warden came and Bane was alive, and the warden was embarrassed, completely embarrassed. So he set Bane back into general population. But the people saw Bane as a hero. They're like, holy fuck, dude, you're fucking awesome. So it's here that like Bane was like, people wanted to curry favor with him because he was on like, oh my god, like this guy went like 4,000 days in the fucking solitary and came out. Awesome sauce, dude. So Bane ends up meeting an American guy called Bird, and Bird's like, hey, like if you need anything, you can talk to me, right? Like I got you, dude. He's like, I'm a pretty fair jailhouse lawyer here, right? And Bane's like, well, what do I get in return from these favors? And the guy's like, well, I got screwed by my partners over in Gotham. If you want, I can help you get over there if you get out, and that type of thing, right? And Bane's like, tell me more about this Gotham later, right? So we find out Bane worked in the library, and he used his connections to smuggle in not drugs or like alcohol or any of that. He smuggled in books. So he would read books he read 3 books a day from various different languages. I think he knows 6 different languages. And this is how Bane became the knowledgeable man that he is. And, he worked out. He did 1,000 push-ups a day, 1,000 sit-ups, 1,000 pull-ups. And instead of sleeping, he meditated 4 hours each night. So then we get to see, Bane getting his rule challenge. They have, this gladiatorial pit in the prison where Bane kills the guy who dared to threaten him, right? So Bane asks Bird about Gotham. What is Gotham like? And Bird's like, it's the greatest city on the planet. Anything a guy could want is for sale there. It's like a big piece of ripe fruit. It's the whole world to me. Well, I wouldn't say Gotham's the best place on planet Earth. And when Bane asks him who rules the city, the guy's like, oh, well, that's a tough one, because no one gang mob runs the place because of Batman. So I guess Batman does rule Gotham. Bane's like, Batman? And Bane goes, I will meet this Batman one day, and I will destroy him. Right? So you could see why Bane wants to go after Batman, because in his mind he took the form of a bat as his fear. Now knowing there's a guy out there literally dressed like a fucking bat who rules a city, yeah, he's gonna fucking want to do that. So there was this a big fight happened, and Bane killed 30 guys. So the guards came, they beat him down, they put him in solitary, and at this moment Bane is then chosen by the warden to be the new test subject for their new experiment, which they've been using the prisoners on. So there have been a couple of prisoners who have died from their experimentation on something. I believe it was 5 inmates have died. So the warden's like, okay, we'll use Bane as the next one. And obviously Bane survives the trials, which is Venom. They're creating Venom. So Bane survives the trials. Then they implant things in his skull so they can administer it directly into his brain, which is of course where he puts his tubes eventually. So Zombie says that he's the one who helps create the drug Venom, and he's the one who made it what it is, right? The Venom we know. So he told Bane this, and him and Bane came up with a plan. The plan was Bane would fake his death because Bane is so good at meditating. He put his vitals below to where the instruments could not tell he had a pulse, right? So after this happens, Bane is thrown over the cliff like his mom, but he's obviously alive. He breaks out, kills a fucking shark because he's a fucking badass, and he swims back up to shore. He sneaks into the warden's room one night, kidnaps him, and in exchange for his freedom and the freedom of 3 others, which was Zombie, Bird, and Trog, he'll give the warden back, but he wants an escape route. So they bring down a helicopter. Bane and the others escape. And as they are escaping, they have the warden with them, and Bane tells the guy, it's again another really good line, because the warden's like, "You're all gonna die," and Bane goes, "Dying is not so difficult. I found it quite liberating. Here's a parting gift so you will not die alone," and he gives him a little osito and throws the warden out to the sharks to die. So they arrive in Gotham. They set up they have a little house where they set up, and they're making Venom and all their equipment with electronics and all that type of stuff. So they are making the tubes for Bane, right? They're making the Venom and the tubes for Bane so he can, be the Bane we know. So they put Bane in the outfit, like the luchador mask. They hook the tubes up into it, and they go to the lair of Johnny No-Nose, who was the partner who betrayed Bird and is the reason Bird was in Peñadora. And Bane says, "I only want one thing from you. Tell me about Batman." And Johnny No-Nose is like, "The fuck? Dude, nobody knows anything about Batman. He's just a masked lunatic like you." And he says, "All we know is he only shows up where there's action involved." And Bane goes, "Oh, really? Well, thank you for letting me know that." Then we cut to Johnny No-Nose being fucking dead and being hung upside down on a fucking lamppost outside as Bane has removed his lips, eyes, and ears. Nice. So Harvey Bullock and Renee Montoya are there on the scene, and she's like, "Should we get the commissioner?" And Harvey's like, "Yeah, why should that guy get some night's sleep? Besides, he's going to want to make a few calls." And of course, Gordon calls for Batman. So as Batman arrives at the GCPD to talk to Gordon, Batman himself is being spied upon by Bane and his crew. And it's like, "Oh, we can get him." And Bane goes, No. This one requires talent. He is mine." So now we see Bane is going to be staking out Batman, learning about him. So Batman and Gordon talk, right? And they're talking about who this could be. It could be this mob person, right? And Gordon's like, maybe it's the Marlon brothers, right? They have a club downtown. That could be where they go. So Batman goes there, and Batman beats up the Marlon brothers in their little club, thinking it could be them, right? During this whole thing, the lights go out. It's a typical Batman scene where Batman's beating them up. And eventually, at one point, one of them goes over the side of the building. And Batman's like, "I'm going to save you. I got you. Don't worry," right? As Batman is saving this guy, another one comes out with a gun. He sees Batman. He's like, "Oh, I can kill him. Great. This is easy." Bane comes out the shadows, kills the guy, and says, "He is mine," right? So Batman, after saving the guy, just punches him, knocks him out. And Bane's like, "Ah, you did not kill him. That is strange. A creature cloaked in nightmare. A figure of terror in a city of terror. And yet you will not break the 6th commandment." Right? And Batman just asks him, "Who are you?" And Bane goes, "You will know my name one day, and you will beg for mercy. You will scream my name." It's really cool. Then the police arrive, they see everything, and they see the dead, one of the dead guys. And Montoya's like, I guess Batman snapped. And Harvey surprisingly defends him and says, this ain't Batman. This is not Batman. Right? This is not his style. You know, so for all of Harvey's bluster and how he hates Batman, he knows how the guy operates. He knows if there's a dead body, it ain't fucking Batman. Right? So they're like, Bane, why'd you let him get away? And Bane says, I did not let him get away. I let him live. There's a difference. This is a strange world to me. Complex, fast. I'll have to understand this place if I am to rule it. The Batman is Gotham City. I will watch him, study him, and when I know him, and why he does not kill, I will know this city, and Gotham will be mine. Really, really fucking cool way to end off Vengeance of Bane, and that is where we end off Vengeance of Bane. Freaking really, really good comic. It's a really good way of giving you Bane's origin. You know his definitive origin there. Boom, we have the origin of Bane. Then we have why he's here in Gotham. And then we find out why he has the luchador mask, why he has the tubes, right? And this is now the beginning of him staking out Batman. And now we know why he wants to stake out Batman, right? It's a very, very good and written origin story for Bane. And I really do enjoy it. The art is real nice. Just overall, a really good comic book. I don't know what else I expect, though, from Chuck Dixon. Because that guy, he hits it out the park like 9 times out of 10. I don't know if I've ever found a Chuck Dixon book I just didn't like. He's like one of the rare guys who just hits it out the park every single time. So I'm going to give Vengeance of Bane a solid 8.5 out of 10. Like, I know I've just praised it. And it is very good. But it's not like, you know, blowing my socks off. It's just a very smartly, competently written story. So 8.5 out of 10 for me from Vengeance of Bane. I look forward to seeing you guys in part 3, as that does it for this one. In part 3, we'll now be going over Prelude to Knightfall. So back to super long episodes again. That'll be great. So yeah, Prelude to Knightfall is part 3. I hope to see you all there, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care.